Right, we're live. Let me just quickly tweet out the links and then we'll get started. Well, yesterday I was buzzing, man, just because of the announcements.
But the announcements, the trailer, everything was just cold, man.
Why is the broadcast not available? Let me just see. It should be open live video. Oh, it is. Okay, it's my phone bugging. But this week though, there's a lot of pressure that we're going to get into it about certain man, but because there's a lot to talk about this first topic.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello and welcome to another episode of Ringside Fracas. I'm your host Naeem, and today I'm joined by a couple of the regulars. Dapo, how are you, bro?
I'm doing well, my brother. How are you?
I'm good, bro. We had a good week and there's a lot to talk about, so can't wait to get into all of that.
Buzzing,
Adam, how are you, bro?
I'm good, man. But boxing looks good, so I'm good. That's all I can say right now.
Perfectly said. And we've also got Jide joining us. Jide, how are you, bro?
I'm good, man. Listen, Deontay Wilder switched sides. LDBC. What are you saying? Where is Samson? Bring him here, man. But yeah, I'm good.
Oh man.
No, you guys are right. We've been eating this year, and I've said this before. This is a better year than 2023, and 2023 was such a good year. What a way to start! We've got so many announcements that we need to go through, but I think we've got to start with what the big fight this week is happening. Devin Haney defending his WBC super lightweight title against Ryan Garcia. Devin Haney 31-0, and Ryan Garcia 24-1. I think it's safe to say this is probably one of the weirdest fight build-ups I've seen. Maybe there's other weird ones, but this is probably one of the weirdest ones I've seen. There's always been this kind of doubt over the fight, whether or not it would happen, whether or not it take place. So I want to start with the build-up. I want to start with the antics, and then we'll go into the kind of the fight breakdown and how we think it's going to go. This has been weird, hasn't it? Ryan's been on a bender. It's just weird. Like, you go on his Instagram, he's marrying porn stars, chilling in bed with them on fight week. He's going up to Devin Haney today, doing the face-off, saying, "Where's your mama? Where's your mama?" Stuff like he's seen stuff happen to children while he got tied up. It's just been a weird, odd fight week, especially from Ryan, this whole build-up. Let me come to you, Jide, first. What was your thoughts about this whole weird build-up?
Yeah, like you said, the build-up has been very strange. So I got two things to say about it. I think it's either my man has actually got mental health issues, which is possible. Boxers get punched in the head all the time. So them having their mental faculties compromised is a real possibility. But then there's the other side where he could be trolling to try to throw off Devin Haney. But I'm more inclined to believe that's not the case. I believe it is something's going on with Ryan. But there's so much money in this fight, and it's like his last proper big fight. He's going along with it now. The reason why I think he's fine to fight is he's had a psych evaluation by the New York State Athletic, I think. Unless you can correct me. I know they sent out to do a psych evaluation on him, and that came back as he's fine. So also, I'm sure I'm not saying here I'm going to trust Golden Boy. I'm going to trust Matchroom and the Zone in terms of analyzing Ryan's mental state. But the fact that a third body supposedly done something and checked him and he basically gave the okay suggests he's probably fine enough to fight. But I personally don't think he's ready to fight. I think it's either, like I said, he's trolling or he's trying to get out of the fight, but it's at this point like he's just going to do it now, or he's actually got something wrong with him, which is what I'm inclined to believe. It's been a very strange build-up, so yeah.
Yeah, perfectly said. And the thing about Golden Boy not being trusted, I think if you remember, Virgil Ortiz had a fight in January against Frederick Lawson, and it came out that Frederick Lawson failed, I think, a medical scan, and yet still somehow was allowed to fight, despite all of that nonsense going on. So you are right that you can't really trust certain promotions, because when it comes to their stars, that they will break the rules, they will bend the rules wherever they can to ensure that they get forward. Adam, has this kind of been a bit worrying, or is this kind of air to you? Is this just Ryan looking for attention?
I think it is worrying. I think we're in a situation right now where you look at the people that have put on the event and they're just thinking, all systems go, we need to get this card just going. It's too late for pullouts. The fight has garnered what I think quite a lot of attention in the last couple of weeks. And say what you want, the stuff that Ryan Garcia is doing is bringing a lot of attention and eyeballs to the fight. A lot of people are interested to see what's going on, purely because of people want to see, is this all just a facade? Is this guy putting on an act to kind of spook Haney out and off-settle him? Or is this a guy that's genuinely showing us a cry for help? Just like Jide, I think it's more of the former. Of course, there's rumors going around from the camps and whatnot that Garcia is struggling to make weight. He's been drinking during camp, which is never a good sign. But I think it's just a case of there being too much money involved for any of the parties to really do anything about it. The show must go on. And I think after the fight, they really need to take a look at Garcia and keep a close eye on him. Depending on how the fight goes, it could take a very bad turn.
Yeah, I agree 100% with what both of you have said. Dapo, coming from, I mean, me and you have both kind of been backing Haney quite a while. Has Haney put a bit too much pressure on him, considering he's taking advantage of this kind of situation, saying that, Ryan's a bum, he's this, he's that? Is there now a bit more pressure on Devin Haney to kind of look better than he should already, like not just win, but considering the fact that Ryan's in this kind of mental state and he doesn't look kind of sane at the moment? Does it kind of put a bit too much pressure maybe on Devin Haney to look good?
Nah, I don't think so. I think if Devin Haney is who he thinks he is and is who we believe him to be, I would be saying more. Like, you get an opportunity to style on a guy that you personally don't rate, but the world, Ryan Garcia is a credible fighter to the world, right? You might not rate him, but he's a big name, and I've seen a lot of people say that he might knock out Haney because he's a quote-unquote sort of a knockout artist compared to Haney. So you have the opportunity to just style on this guy, beat this guy. If I was Haney, I would be doing more to sell this fight. Like, I would be even saying more, like, I'm going to flog this guy. That's me personally. And as boxing fans, we know, stylistically, Haney's going to cause some problems for Ryan Garcia. So in order to sell this fight, I feel like he's doing the right thing, in my opinion. And Ryan is saying and doing a lot. And it's going to be hard for Haney to be quiet. So he has to just meet fire with fire in that regard. And I don't think he should feel any pressure, to be honest. He should just go out there and do what he normally does. If he can do that to Regis, I'm sure he'll be fine with Ryan.
Perfectly well said. Chris, a lot has been said in this build-up. A lot has been done in this build-up. And there's been quite a few doubts on whether or not we actually make it to fight week. Even now, when we're on the Tuesday before the Saturday, there's still some doubts on whether or not this fight can take place.
Sorry to quickly cut you off, Naeem, but I'm reading some of the stuff that this guy is tweeting and saying, Ryan Garcia is insane. This guy's actually mad. Like, are you guys seeing some of the stuff this guy's saying? This guy said, I'm identifying as a woman and Haney put his hands on me, so I'm going to sue him. LGBTQ. This guy's mad. This guy's mad.
I can't let that funny.
Oh, by the way, I agree with you. I think he's fine. I think he's got to the point where he's fucking about his career, man. I think he's fine. I don't think he's dealt with his loss properly, and I just think he thinks, fuck it. I think he's fine. But this guy's he's an idiot.
So, Chris, there's been a lot of doubts on whether or not we make it to fight week, and there's still some doubts on whether or not this fight actually takes place. What's your whole thoughts on everything going behind the scenes when it comes to Haney versus Ryan?
At first, I thought, like a lot of people did, that there was obvious issues with Ryan, and then I started to lean towards the side of he's more playing into these, using these antics to try and give himself a bly out of the fight. So if he loses, he can say, you know, he wasn't mentally there. For his next fight, he's really going to be there. He's going to be back. He's going to be focused. Blah blah. Change his life around. Just gives him it gives him an opportunity to, you know, have a second chance in a fight where, you know, he's not the favorite again, and he's not looking the most likely to win again. But my issue, where I stand now, is I feel like there's elements of all of it, of all aspects. So I feel he does have some sort of mental issues, I think, that are being overlooked. Maybe he's exaggerating them to kind of sell the fight, doing certain things to, you know, garner attention. But that's not the kind of thing that a normal person would do, not with that kind of regularity. I don't think so anyway. I feel like what's actually going to tell us where his head and his mind is at is on the scale. So if he makes weight, I would probably agree that he's probably just been playing into this whole game to try and sell the fight, because he hasn't looked great leading up until the fight, from a physical aspect, like aesthetically. But if he makes weight, fine. It looks healthy on the scale. I would definitely agree that he's just been trying to sell the fight. But right now, I'm not so sure. I'm not so convinced. I feel like they may be doing a major disservice if he does have mental issues, like Jide said. You know, these promoters, these governing bodies, they're not really here to secure the safety of these fighters. They're here to make money. It's all about money at the end of the day, and this is one of the biggest. This is one of the biggest fights you can put on at this moment in time. And
what do you think about him getting cleared, though?
What's up?
What do you think about him getting cleared, like mentally and stuff? But they've done an evaluation on him apparently, and he's clear. What do you think about that?
Even that, like, a mental evaluation. There's so many aspects and so many elements that go into it. Do you know what I mean? There's been people in the past who have had real mental issues that have been able to, you know, pass mental evaluations, and vice versa. There's people who have been completely fine and have been able to, you know, kind of put on a facade and have people classify them as mentally ill. It's hard to say. It's hard to say what regulatory body's looking at this person, what kind of professional, what kind of medical professional. If it's going to be supplied by the promotional companies, you're damn sure that they're going to have the best interests of the promoters and the financial situation rather than the fighter itself. My issue obviously is just, if things do go wrong, even if it's, you know, 10 years from now where Ryan has serious problems mentally, people are always going to look back at this moment in time, always. So we'll see.
Yeah, perfectly awesome. My theory has always been that I think the reason why they took this fight, even though I you know, you got to give Ryan credit for taking on Devin Haney, especially a year after taking on Tank, you know, one of the four princes, as we called them. That is, I think they're looking for a cash out. You know that there's been tension behind the scenes between Ryan and Golden Boy, that they've never really looked eye to eye. They've had kind of their own beefs.
Yeah.
And I feel like after that kind of Oscar Duarte performance, even though he did get a knockout, he didn't look great. And I think they're kind of looking at it and going, well, if we fight Haney and we lose, well, everyone's going to say we were meant to lose anyway. And at least that way we can cash out. If you look at all the options outside of Tank, who can Ryan really face that's going to give him the most money? Devin Haney's next up there. There's no one out there right now outside of Tank that can make him more money than Devin Haney. And how long could you wait for Tank? Because, you know, you can't just get that rematch off of nothing, you know. So that's been my thoughts, that he's kind of cashed out. I think his trainer of the year, that, as Chris says, I think he's cashed out mentally. I look at it and I go, there's no way that Derek James, a guy who's known for a strict and he's got one of the hardest camps. Pause. He's got guys that are in trenches, making sure that they're going to war every day and they're disciplined. That he's allowing this to happen. The only reason is I feel like he also is looking for an easy payday here, and then he's just going to leave Ryan as soon as it's all done. So that's been my thoughts behind. So all this behind the scenes stuff as well with his mental. I don't know about mental health. I can't really comment on it because last time I did, I got people try to cancel me on here, so I'm gonna stay away from it. But what I will say is, when you get money like Ryan Garcia and before the pause patrol comes for me, and you're as good looking as him, that when you live in those areas like LA, London, for example, you'll get these leeches basically coming towards you, and it messes you up. And I think that's what he's had is he hasn't had a good support system. He hasn't had a good system around him to basically say, look, you're a boxer, you're in one of the toughest professions in the world, you could die if you don't take it seriously. He's just there for the fame, the high life, and the quick life. And I think this is part of it, is getting that cash out, getting that notoriety, and then maybe doing it on the influencer scene or whatever. But it just doesn't seem like there's a seriousness about him. But now that we've covered that kind of backstory, let's go into the actual fight, because obviously that we have to discuss. So for me, Devin Haney is one of the he's a very good fundamental fighter. He's got some really good fundamental, and he's built on them. He's got great proactive defense. He doesn't wait for the guy to throw the punch. He knows what punch is coming, and he just straight away ducks and weaves, slips, and whatever he needs to do. He's got a great jab. He knows how to hold the distance well, and he's got good footwork compared to Ryan, where I think, while Devin Haney in the toughest fights of his career has shown great discipline, like against Lomachenko and against Regis Prograis. On paper, they were meant to be the toughest fights of his career. He showed great discipline to stay in those fights, switched on. You know how hard people don't realize, like the whole Loma fight, he lost this or that, whatever you think about whether or not Devin Haney won or lost that fight. To go up against Lomachenko and actually compete with him for 12 rounds, even though Lomachenko's adjusting to you, he's doing this and that, and being able to win rounds and be able to stay in there and compete with one of the technically best fighters we've seen in quite a while, you have to give him his credit. It's not like he was like Teofimo, where like you give credit to Teofimo for winning, but there was that power factor that he had that kept Lomachenko at bay. Devin Haney never really had that, but he still was in there, technically sound enough to get him through the line. And then against Regis Prograis, a big puncher, but just made him look stupid. And he didn't get overzealous. He didn't try to bite off more than he could chew. He stuck to his game plan for the 12 rounds, and he made him look stupid. And I feel like he's going to do the same here. I feel like with Ryan, when we saw him in his toughest fight against Gervonta Davis, in the second round, what did he do? Immediately forgot all of his trainer's advice, immediately forgot the game plan, and just started spamming left hooks like he's in Mortal Kombat or something. And then he got dropped. And the game was done from there, because mentally he couldn't come back for that. Because as soon as Tank dropped him, mentally it got to him. Like, damn, I couldn't even hit him, and he hit me. And I think also technically he's not built himself up. He's been a great amateur. If you look at Ryan Garcia's amateur career, he's actually a good amateur. I just think there's a point in his career where he's stopped the building technically, and he's failing for it. And you're seeing the fundamentals, and you're seeing the deficiencies come out. Against Oscar Duarte, why are you trying a shoulder roll? You've never been a Philly shell fighter. You've never been like that. So why are you trying to do random shoulder rolls here and there? Ryan's got power, and that's always going to keep him live in this fight, especially with the speed. It's more about the blinding speed that he has. But like we've all been saying, if you don't take this fight seriously, and it doesn't seem like he has been, but we'll see on the fight night. I think my prediction for this is, I think his footwork's not good already. I think it's going to be similar to Regis Prograis, where Haney's just going to keep making him look stupid, keep making him fall in over his punches, punching him up, countering him in between, maybe looking for a pull counter when he tries to throw that left hook and misses, or his jab. And then I think he's going to stop him, because I think Ryan, at some point in that fight, is going to either quit mentally, or his corner's going to be like, yeah, you're done. You're not going to do anything. Let's not get brutalized here. I think I wouldn't normally bet on Devin Haney getting a knockout, but I feel like he could actually stop Ryan. That's my little rant over of this fight. Let me come to you guys with some of your technical breakdowns of how this fight will go. Dapo, let me come to you first. How do you think Haney and Ryan looks like and goes?
First of all, I think Ryan looks chubby, man. I don't know if he's going to make weight. I do think he looks a bit big. Pause. I don't think he's going to make weight. But if he does somehow make that weight, my issue with Ryan Garcia is, can he adapt? Does he have layers to his game? You know, like you just referenced, once he got hurt by Tank, you know, it felt like he went back to the one thing he knew he was good at, which is, you know, throwing the left hook. And when that doesn't work, like, what do you then do? And that's my problem. If I feel like Haney's game plan is quite straightforward, because Ryan Garcia is going to be looking for that one punch. He's becoming a bit more one. I feel like the more Ryan's career is progressing, the more one-dimensional he's becoming. So I'm predicting, you know, a cruise win for Haney. Like, when Haney said that Ryan Garcia is like a C-level fighter, I think C-level was harsh, but I do think there's a bit of a gap between them both, and I think that's what we're going to see on Saturday. I expect Haney to you know, find his distance pretty quick with that jab, because Ryan Garcia isn't the most elusive fighter. He is there to be hit. So I could see Haney finding that range, using that jab, utilizing that jab, finding his range very quickly, you know, get the feet moving, you know, be defensive, but using his defense as offense, bait Ryan, trap Ryan. I can see a lot of that stuff. I'm just more intrigued in, does Haney stop him though, or does he hurt him? Does he drop him? Because Haney's not known to be a powerful puncher, and I feel like this fight, it will be the best way to kind of get rid of some of those narratives. Like, he gets called pillow fisted and stuff. If he can stop or knock out Ryan Garcia, I think that would be huge for his stocks. And I hope he gets it, because you know, this has got a good story as well. Like, they've been fighting each other since they were kids, right? And they're currently 3-3. So this is like the ultimate showdown now, like, to see who's better. So if you can end it in that kind of fashion, it'll do wonders for Haney stocks, which will then, you know, propel him to, it will increase the visibility of his few further fights. Like, you know, if he goes against Teofimo, or, you know, one of the up and coming guys from the division below. So yeah, that's how I can see it going down.
Perfectly well said. Chris, how does it all go down?
So similar to Dapo, I do feel like, and I think you did allude to this in the beginning, I do think that Devin's got a point to prove. I feel like this would be a fight to kind of show people what level he's at, to show guys like, you know, Tank, Shakur, Teofimo, that he's not only a technical boxer, but it's also got some pop as well and some power, and something that they have to respect from a physical aspect. How I feel the fight is going to play out, I feel like, for me, one thing about Devin is that he seems very disciplined with his training, and he's improved, you know, with each and every fight he's had. And for me, that just goes to show he's one of those guys who, you know, he's listening and training, he's looking at footage, he's learning, he's looking at his mistakes, and he's trying to better himself. Whereas with Ryan, it just seems like he doesn't seem to be looking much at his deficiencies. Yes, we've seen a couple pad videos. He's keeping his backhand up a little bit more than he would usually do, or he's bringing back his lead hand as soon as he throws a shot. Yeah, but it's like those things take time and fights to improve on, to really show that these things are developed. Because when things get hard, he's going to go back to what he knows. He's going to go back to trying to throw flashy shots, dropping his hands as soon as he throws his shots. He's going to go back to having his chin in the air when he's stepping back, that kind of thing. And I feel like he needed more fights to prepare for one of these guys, coupled with the fact he's had all his issues, you know, marital issues, just had a kid, supposed mental health issues. He's not looked great physically. All of these things, for me, it's just going to be the difference between a disciplined fighter and an undisciplined fighter. And I think the way it's going to go is I feel like Devin is just gonna beat him to the punch. I think for every shot he hits Devin with, Devin will hit him back with 2 or 3, and he'll step around him well. He'll move around him. As you said, Ryan doesn't have great feet, so it's gonna take away from his power, and it's also gonna lead to him probably getting dropped in the fight. I don't know if he gets knocked out, but I could definitely see a case where the corner steps in, coupled with everything else. I feel like at the very least, his corner has a duty to protect him. Whether Trainer of the Year does that or not, because we know it's about his ego, I don't know, but he's still getting paid the same regardless, isn't he? So we'll see. I'm gonna probably go for a stoppage, maybe a late stoppage.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Jide, how does this all play out?
All this technical analysis, fuck all that shit. That boy getting his ass whooped.
You're dumb.
That boy getting man are doing breakdowns and jabs and footwork. Listen, there's 5 of us here. We don't need to do that. That boy getting his booty whooped. No homo. Like he's gonna beat my man like he's his daddy. I tell you that.
Yo,
Ryan Garcia hasn't improved at all. That's what that's what we got to understand. You can look at Devin's career from when he started getting into prominence to now, and you can see the stuff that he's done to improve as a fighter. You can't say that for Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia came into the game having an amazing left hook.
He might be worse. Can't lie.
He's always had a great left hook. He never moves his head. Now he's trying to do some janky shoulder roll. The guy hasn't improved. Like you said, he just came into the game, was getting all the holes, getting all the limelight, getting all the attention. Ryan Garcia divorced his wife to basically what Deontay Wilder wanted to live, like without getting hit. That's what Ryan Garcia wants, isn't it? Like wants the babes, he wants the attention. I get it, innit? Like, if I'm 24 years old, multi-millionaire, I'm famous, bruh, I'll probably have like 10 kids now. So I get it. I get it. But he doesn't take his career serious. Like, we're going to see. If Devin doesn't outclass him, I'm disappointed in Devin. The only type of fighters I see giving Devin problems are fast-footed pressure fighters, because Devin doesn't have power. If Devin can't keep you away from him, so someone like Loma, but with power, although Loma's not a tradition. So basically, Subriel Matias would be someone that if he fights Devin, I'll give that 50-50, or I might even hedge it towards Matias, because I know that the guy has got a hell of volume. I know he's not quick-footed, but he's got a hell of volume, got power, and he's not someone like Regis Progress who's going to try counter-punch and throw it. No, he's going to pressure Devin. That's when
them don't just ruin your rhythm. Them rhythm ruiners.
Yeah. Them like Maidanas, like they're just on you. They don't care about anything. They're just on you. That's when I'll be like, okay, let me see what Devin's really made of. Guys like Ryan who want to box are gonna get cooked. Counter Devin is good. That's why P Shooter don't want to fight Devin, by the way. Any counter puncher, you are getting cooked by Devin Haney. I promise you that. What's his name? Teofimo, he's getting cooked by Devin. I promise, like, I truly believe it will take a high volume on your chest pressure fighter to see what Devin's really made of. And if Devin doesn't cook Ryan Garcia, I'll be really disappointed. So, boy.
Yeah, I think that sums up Jide's prediction. I don't think he's going with Ryan Garcia. Yes. Adam, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, listen, my stance has been known for a while now. You have two polar opposites in where Haney really excels because he is so disciplined, whereas Garcia is probably the most undisciplined fighter right now. Just to kind of, I'm hoping it kind of throws a bit of a spanner in the works, because these guys have so much of a history where it's 3-3 in fights, and this is game 7. essentially. And with the point that I feel like Haney has something to prove, I'm thinking, do we see some of that discipline slip a bit and see something a bit more from Haney where he's taking maybe more risks? And I think if Haney does do that, I'm not saying he does, but I'm saying if the possibility is there, if it happens, I do think Ryan Garcia being more athletic will play into his hand more or less, because Garcia, in terms of hand speed, is the faster fighter. I do think he's more athletic overall, but that's just me going off a tangent. I think this is going to be just a whitewash where Haney wins. Possibly, he could win all 12 rounds. I don't see how Garcia is able to beat Haney. If somehow by some stretch of the imagination Garcia wins, it's going to be because of Haney's doing and not Garcia's.
Yeah, perfectly well said. We can't wait for this fight. I think it's still a fight that got a lot of us interested in, and we've all got sort of our invested interest in it. I think it's got a lot of people wanting to see what's going to happen, what's the outcome, especially with the build-up. Whether you agree with the build-up or not, I think it's got a lot more people talking about this fight than there was before. The only thing I will say is that undercard is a two-pack of ass. I mean, what the hell? How do you put Sean McComb as the co-main event to a pay-per-view fight? Like, you spent all that money on Haney and Garcia. You didn't bother to build up the undercard. Like, you've got the thing is, Golden Boy, I have to give them credit because this year they have actually had some decent small level shows. This is a disaster. I don't know what they were thinking. They've got guys like Oscar Collazo, minimum weight world champion. You could put him on this undercard, get him some exposure. Like, you got guys that you don't have that much exposure that you could get on the card. Floyd Schofield, for example, that young prospect. They could get him on the undercard. They could have got him, but it is such a bad undercard. So it's going to be a drag to get through that kind of card, but the main event is something that I think we're all looking forward to, and it's one of the bigger fights of this year. So can't wait. Let us know what you think about that fight, your predictions, and follow us on Instagram. Tell us what you think about those fights, and follow us on Twitter as well at Ringside Fracas, and tell us what you think, what your thoughts are, what your predictions are, everything. We want to know. So that's out of the way. I think we have to talk about this. There's no way we can't talk about this. The 5v5 Queensbury versus Matchroom was announced last night. Last night. And we got a glimpse of what the next kind of fights are going to be. So let's go through the fights top to bottom. Do you want to do top to bottom? We'll quickly go through the bottom one because I don't think none of us really... It's a good fight, but I don't think we're not that too interested whether or not it's going to...
Speedrun thing. The speedrun for it.
Yeah, speedrun this. Craig Richards and Willie Hutchinson. Good fight. Willie Hutchinson got stopped at super middleweight before, but he's built himself back up at light heavyweight. A chance for both guys to kind of get themselves back in the light heavyweight mix when you've got guys like Yarde, Buatsi, and all of that in that domestic mix to kind of get themselves back into it. So it's a good fight to watch because they're both going to be wanting to get themselves back in there. Any thoughts from any of you guys on that fight? Or
not really?
Not really. I think Richards, in my opinion. I do think he's a bit of a banana peel in that he's given Buatsi a good run for his money. Gave Bivol a fairly decent fight where Bivol didn't look that great that night either. And he poses a high risk for a lot of people at 175. And I'm glad to see him kind of get his limelight here on this card. It will give him a bit more exposure and whatnot. But I think, Richards wins that for me.
I think ideally it was meant to be Yarde, but then obviously Yarde is now negotiating with Buatsi, and there's all of that going on. But it's still a decent fight. As the bottom of the card, you've had so much worse. So this is a really decent fight to watch. So look out for that fight. And once we get closer to the date, we'll discuss it in a bit more detail. For Ray Ford taking on Nick Ball, defending his WBA featherweight title. That's a really good fight in my opinion. I think that's a fight that I think a lot of people should take notice of. Both guys will have had two world title fights in the space of 6 months. Give them their credit because that's an insane thing to do within 6 months. You don't see a lot of boxers doing that. Two top featherweights. There's a lot to expect from this, and I think you're going to get a really good war, especially when you're seeing these two in their last couple fights, in their last fight especially, the wars that they put themselves through. You're going to get another one this in June. Anyone have anything to comment on on Ray Ford versus Nick Ball?
I rate Nick Ball, man. I like what he's doing.
This is one of the best fights. It's probably slept on. A lot of people don't really look at the lighter weights, but it's a genuine 50-50. There's probably 2 or 3 genuine 50-50s in this card, and this is one of them. And this is why this is one of the best cards ever. Nick Ball, Raging Bull, Raymond Ford, technical, but he's ready to scrap. Some people could even have Nick Ball as the favorite, like based on styles. Like, you don't understand. This is a great fight. I wish it was for a unification, but yeah, man, don't sleep on this fight. So if you're one of them guys that's only trying to look at the heavyweights, nah, man, you need to check this fight out, man.
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, no, I was kind of gonna echo what Jide was saying. I think the reason why this card for me slightly edges Day of Redemption is because 2 phenomenal stat cards, which I think are the best cards in boxing history. But with this card here, there's just so many 50-50 fights. You don't know what to call, and it's a real genuine toss-up. So this as well, quality fight. Yeah.
It's one of the most competitive cards in boxing that we've had for quite a while. And if you're doubting anything about what Jide said, go and watch Ray Ford versus Otabek Komotov, his last fight. That was a war fight of the year contender. And then go watch Vargas versus Nick Ball, because that's a really good fight as well. The next fight on the card is the Queensbury captain, who I think is deserved, Hamza Shiraz, taking on Austin Amma Williams. A fight between 2 middleweight young and hungry contenders who want to become world champion and want to take this crappy division and take it to a new height. This historic division that's been quite dead, they're trying to get it back. What a fight. I think this is probably one of the best, most matched up fights that we could have got on the card. Hamza Shiraz, all to prove. He's been looking amazing in his last couple of fights, looking unstoppable at middleweight. Amma Williams, he's been a force. He's been looking for that one fight to get him through to the next stage of his career, and this could be it. This is the time for him to shine. You're going to get a really good fight. Who's first up? Who wants to give their thoughts on Shiraz and Ammo? Adam?
Yeah, so I think it's the perfect platform for both of them to build off. It's a shame that we're going to have a loser in the fight because they're both so promising, but I think it's come at a really good time on a very good card where there's going to be a lot of eyeballs. My personal verdict, I really have a lot of stocks in Shiraz, and I think Shiraz is gonna give the Queensbury lot the double points for being captain.
Yeah, I have a lot of stock in Shiraz as well. Nothing to do with his skin color, where he's from, of course. Anyone else has got anything to comment on this fight?
Amma Williams is going to lose because of the fact that he wore a tail.
I knew you were going to bring that.
He's not a serious person, man. I'm sorry. No.
He looked like a BDSM villain, man.
He looked like an LGBT alien, bro.
It was dumb. Man.
It's just so random what you wore to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Americans, man.
A tail. Like, what the hell? What were you going to say?
Just like Oscar. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to echo what all you man are saying, man. It's a 50-50 fight. It reminds me of the 80s, man. Although I wasn't born in the 80s, but in terms of like guys, young and up and coming guys, equally matched, fighting each other. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially if you look at the British domestic field, it reminds me of that when we had the Girl versus Groves, or when we have Joshua versus White. Again, I know those are like domestic level, but the point I'm trying to make is 2 young elites, up and coming talents fighting. One of them winner's gonna go on to great things, and possibly the loser as well. So this is why I'm saying, man. I disagree with Adam that this is just slightly better than Day of Reckoning. No. Day of Reckoning was just heavyweights or whatever. This clears it. I'm not gonna lie to you. In terms of 50-50 fights, this clears that card easy. Like, you don't understand. This is another one that's one of the best fights on the night. So, yeah, man, let's go.
By the way, Jide says he wasn't born in the 80s. He's right, because he was 75 when the 80s happened. Jide watched the first boxing fight in Athens take place. So when they were wearing togas and everything.
Master
You're
Jide.
taking the piss. Master Athens. Fuck, yeah, I'm like, damn.
Athens
was crazy.
it's a great fight. And then on the heavyweights, we've got a great heavyweight fight to look forward to. We've got Filip Hrgović taking on Daniel Dynamite, triple knee, triple quit Dubois.
Nah,
I mean,
man. Why are we still calling?
You got, no. Give him a bit of
Let's
credit
give him some credit, man.
after his last fight, man. Come on.
All right, at least call him Daniel Dubious.
He's not triple quit no more. Let's do double quit.
All
no,
right,
it's
cool.
still triple.
Double quit, double digit IQ. Yeah.
Wait, how many times did he quit?
Twice.
Two
But
and
he
a
took
half.
the knee many times.
2.5 times.
Yeah, because of the thing fight, the
Yeah.
Lorena fight. Yeah,
the
that one.
Lorena fight.
He couldn't
That
stop
was
doing that weird.
weird, man.
Yeah.
He
but-
says it's because of his ACL, but
That was match fixing, bro.
I want to come to you first, Chris. I know Daniel Dubois is your favorite fighter. So what's your thoughts on Hrgović versus Dubois?
Good fight on paper. In theory, I feel Hrgović has an IQ that's just too much for Daniel to compete with. I don't know. I feel like if he keeps it basic, if he sticks to basic boxing, he's got a good chance. But I feel like Hrgović has got the edge. There's obviously rumors that he's dropped him in sparring in the past. And for me, the Miller fight doesn't really turn the corner completely. Miller's not the greatest of fighters. He's a big fat slob.
Miller's shit, man. Fat shit.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people would have got him out of there. And so, yeah, while it's a name and it's a scalp, and he showed some courage in that fight, it's not enough for me to make the difference up between what happened with the Usyk fights, the Lorena fights, the Joe Joyce fights, all those stumbling blocks that he's come into contact with. I don't think the Miller wipes those away from me personally.
Yeah, there's a rumor going around as well. Well, not a rumor, but this was a long time ago that when they did both spar, and he kind of confirmed it at the press conference in such a weird way, that Hrgović knocked out Dubois years ago in sparring, and then Dubois, what he said in this he said in the press conference, I'm better than I was in sparring, and Hrgović absolutely killed him and said, well, you better be, because now you're going to be stopped within a couple rounds, not like he did in the sparring.
Apparently, they were scheduled for 4 different days of sparring, and they had to pull him out of the 4th day because apparently Hrgović done some damage on him. That's what Hrgović said in an interview afterwards to IFL.
Would you call Dubois chinny?
I wouldn't call him chinny as such. I think calling people chinny in the heavyweight division is a fine line because them guys are so big.
Nah, I think the bar's got a chin, man.
Yeah, the bar's got
I
a chin.
think he take a punch, but
we've seen him eat licks before.
he hasn't got heart. He ain't got heart.
I think that's what it is. I think
it's
that's
more
what
of
it
a heart
is.
issue, most definitely, yeah.
Because that jab he went down to Usyk for was just like even Usyk.
It was similar to the Joe Joyce thing. Like,
yeah,
it was similar.
Yeah, but
so
with Joe Joyce, I mean, his eye was completely.
Yeah, with Joyce, I gave him a bit of leeway because obviously his eye was.
I heard that, but yeah, but I think it's a heart issue.
The Usyk jab, I'm sorry.
With the Lorena fight, especially, that was odd. That was a really, really odd knockdown.
It's weird. It's hard to say if he has a chin or not, because when you get knocked out, your brain switches off. With him, his brain's never switched on in the first place. So you can't really
This guy, when the ball catches you on road, boy.
I've seen him a couple times, isn't it? He looks like
he's a local guy, He's not even when he catches name, fam.
It's common. I just use words with like more than 3 syllables. You won't understand what I'm saying, so it's fine. With Hrgović, though, this is kind of his chance to kind of prove to the world why a lot of people were gassing him when he was like 21, 23. When he came down to David Hayes' gym, sparred David Hay. I think he was 21 at the time. He sparred Deontay Wilder, beat up Deontay Wilder in sparring, doing that when he was 21. Like, very young, you knew from the amateurs this guy was a problem. But he really hasn't kicked on with his career. When he had the big fight against Zhilei Zhang, didn't look great. Then everyone got onto him, rightfully so, for taking on Mark Demori on the Day of Reckoning card, because that doesn't show ambition. That doesn't show someone that wants to go for a world title. But now we're seeing him taking on Daniel Dubois, who will be a tough test. Stylistically, it's a tough test for Hrgovic as well. He's coming up against a guy that can punch. He's not a mover, Hrgovic himself. A guy that can really set himself and punch, and he's really quite strong. Dubois is he's a strong guy. So there's a lot to lose here because he's putting the IBF title on the line, because realistically he could have fought AJ for the IBF title. He could have just waited, but they obviously offered him a bag, but now he's taking this shot and we're going to see whether or not he's the business. So there's a lot to see from Hrgovic himself. Jide, what's your thoughts on the matchup?
It's a great fight, man. What I would say is I favor Hrgovic because Dubois don't move his head, so it's susceptible for the jab. He's a shorter man, and Hrgovic got a good jab, so Hrgovic is going to jab his head to death. And like we said, the jabber stops Dubois twice, so that's in line. That plays in line. Dubois not chinny; it's just the heart. And if he's getting hit in the eye constantly and he's not getting success, yeah. But if Dubois is ready to go for broke, I feel like it can do some damage. It's an intriguing fight. That's what I would say. But I think Hrgovic should be a comfortable favorite. But yeah, Dubois has a chance, because if Dubois wins this, I promise you, if Wilder doesn't do the business and Dubois beats Hrgovic, Dubois Joshua in September is a big fight. It's a huge fight. So yeah, it's all to play for. So yeah.
Yeah, perfectly well said. And while we're still on the question of the heavyweights, there's the big headliner fight that's going to be topping this bill. Words that I thought I'd never think I'd ever say in my life, especially if you told me this 3 years ago. I never thought I'd say this. But the Matchroom captain, Deontay Wilder, taking on Zhilei Zhang. What the hell? When did we come into this position where Deontay Wilder is the champion of Matchroom? He's captaining them for this event. Zhilei, Wilder's the captain. What's going on?
The bronze bomb. The bronze bomb is captaining Matchroom. Eddie Hearn. Who would have thought? Even last year, who would have thought? No one would have thought this. This is what I'm saying, man. The PVC are struggling. I know them channels. I went and checked 78 Sports TV. Guy is trying to dock the questions. I checked Boxing Ego. They're trying to play around it. It's like they don't want to.
Oh, what are they saying?
They don't really say when they say, "Oh, Wilder's got another shot, a great opportunity against Zhang." It's like they're keeping it boxing now. They're not talking about the agendas.
No! I need to go leave some comments.
Listen, they've dropped their agendas, man. I know they're in pain. Their king is now with the quote unquote slave owner. Their king is with the slave owner. That's crazy. But hey, listen, Wilder, this is your opportunity, because I still want Joshua to flatten him, innit? So I'm hoping and praying. Like, we might even do in the chat a quick prediction, Aka, or whatever we're gonna do. I think Zhang is a comfortable favorite, but my heart wants Wilder.
Pray for a Wilder win. I'm praying to Shango, Allah, all the gods to
all of them to help win.
Chill, Dapper.
That was crazy, but anyway, yeah.
I'm joking.
I need Wilder to do it, and he has a chance because we've seen Zhang. He gasses out. So if Wilder can survive the early rounds, yes, Zhang is there for the straight right hand, and Wilder can detonate that with all his ayahuasca, whatever he's doing, with all of that behind him, and put Zhang to sleep, so we can get the fight with all one in. But yeah, man. Hey, listen, Wilder, welcome to the team, man. Welcome to the team.
I never thought I'd be seeing Deontay Wilder and Eddie Hearn shaking hands. Chris, Wilder, Zhang, tell me. Chris? Oh, I'll come back to Chris in a minute. Yeah, I'll come back. Adam, Wilder versus Zhang.
Yeah, I mean, I think this captaining is why Matchroom might lose the card. I think, listen, Wilder has lost every bit of ego to him. Even the way he comes in the press conferences, the guy just ain't in it anymore. I think it's just one last payday for him. Zhang, as disappointing as he was last fight, I still think that straight left from him is just gonna go down the pipe and land on Wilder all night. I think he takes him out by knockout. And but what Jide said is true also. If Wilder can survive the later rounds, then of course Wilder always has a puncher's chance. It's one of those fights where it might be extremely exciting because they're both such big punchers, or very boring because they're so low output punchers, fighters as well. Like they both have very low output. They tend to gas, etc. But I just think the weight difference will be too much, and I see Zhang getting the win.
Yeah, I agree with that. So if it goes to 12, I have this. I'm locking this prediction now. If it goes to 12, people will get pissed off by that fight.
Yeah,
because of how low output with it. It'll be a stinker.
Yeah.
Chris,
yes,
chat to me. Wilder Zhang.
Wilder versus Zhang. I agree with something Hatman said. I feel like Wilder's such a funny guy. I reckon Eddie used being a captain as part of the deal to get him on board. Like, I'm gonna make you the captain. And he goes, yeah, I'm done. I'm signing it. Where's the contract? But good fight. I do think Zhang is gonna knock him out. And I think it's gonna be early, personally. The way I see it is Wilder has never been great as a boxer. He's never been a great boxer. He's always had that right hand. He's got speed and he's got heart. But the issue is, like anyone can tell you, over time, these things are going to fade away. There's no doubt about it. That venom that you have is not going to stay consistent. No fighter can maintain that kind of venom, even the best of them. You look at Mike Tyson towards the start and towards the end of his career, like the venom goes. There's like a certain type of fighter that, a certain type of fighting style that promotes longevity. You look at certain fighters who adjust their styles, do things like, obviously the most obvious example is Floyd. But you look at fighters that adapt their styles so they can continue fighting in a way in which, highlights their strengths at that specific time. We know that Floyd's strengths were his IQ. And so doing things, frustrating fighters, pot shotting, making guys miss, not taking too much damage, not letting his hands go as much so he can keep himself safe, that kind of thing. There's nothing in Wilder's inventory that has changed from day one till now for me. The only thing that's changed with him is mental and physical. And I feel someone with the pedigree of Zhang, someone who's been to the Olympics, who's fought as an amateur, who's seen it all essentially at that weight, I feel like it's just going to be a matter of time before he lands. I don't think, he hasn't fought anyone with that kind of power. He hasn't fought anyone who, can really challenge him from that perspective. I know Ortiz hit relatively hard as a southpaw. He almost had him out of there. And Ortiz was what, maybe 37, apparently at the time. We don't know, could have been 50.
Which is the number 73.
Yeah, exactly. If Wilder gets hit with some of the shots that Ortiz caught him with, he is going to sleep 100%. And I feel like Zhang he's savvy enough to be able to land that shot at least once. And it's about, can he really survive this shot? I really thought he was lucky against Parker. Parker landed that one big shot, but after that, he's all the other shots got smothered, which credit to Wilder, he did really well in the corner. But I feel like if he landed another one of those shots, Wilder might have hit the canvas, for me personally. But we'll see. Obviously, Wilder's always a danger. It's just that right hand, it comes so fast. We know Zhang can be hurt. We know he can go down. He can hit the canvas. And we know when he gets tired, he just takes shots and he doesn't throw any back. Pause. But Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it ends up in the end. I'm gonna go for Zhang on points. Oh, sorry, Zhang on points. Zhang KO. Early KO within the first 3 rounds.
I was gonna say points is a bit, especially for Zhang, but yeah, no, perfect. Yeah, perfectly summed up. Dapo, you've been praying to everyone for a Wilder win. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I want to keep it quick. I'm with Jide. I want Wilder to win because I want to see him fight AJ, but I don't think he's gonna win. I think he's gonna get punched up. I think he loses in the first 5 rounds. For him to win this fight, he needs a perfectly timed right hand, and I don't think he's been active enough for him to be able to perfectly time that right hand. I think his time is going to be really off because he's not active, and I think Zhang's hand speed and his stance is going to cause Wilder so many problems, and the fight will be done very quickly. That's my prediction.
Perfect. Thank you guys for giving me your time. There's so much to talk about in boxing. We've got so much to talk about. There's even more from this week to talk about. I feel like we need to give it its own segment. That the headline fight of the Queensberry Matchroom 5v5, even though it's not Wilder versus Zhang, it's another fight that's much bigger than that. We need to give it its own segment, which is Better Beer versus Bivol. We will give it its own segment. So tune in for the next episode, because we're going to talk about that in a lot of detail, and we'll review Haney and Ryan, the result of that as well alongside it. So thank you, boys, for joining us. Thank you for everyone that's been listening in, for joining and listening in. Just a quick announcement. On Sunday, I can't announce what it is, but there's going to be something big going on. Make sure that you're tuning into the channel. Make sure that you're following us on Twitter or on Instagram, because I'm going to announce it in the next couple days once I just get everything kind of sorted out. It's going to be a good episode. You're not going to miss it. You are going to enjoy it. You shouldn't miss it. It's going to be a great one. So keep an eye out for Sunday, and keep an eye out for the next couple months. We've got a good schedule of boxing to look forward to. There's so much to talk about, and we're going to keep talking, and we're going to keep podding, and we're going to hope to keep getting your thoughts, your comments, so that we can also discuss those. So we'll see you next week. Give us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you're listening on those apps. If you're on YouTube, click subscribe, like, comment, share this video to people that you know enjoy boxing, and we'll see you next week for the next episode. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.